A few years ago, a friend of mine gave me a bunch of steel. It's 4 pieces of C channel. It's very distinctive, and I didn't know what to do with it. As is often the case, a new material will stimulate thinking and imagination on what you might be able to do with it. And I realized that if I put 2 of them together, I could make this solid kind of bar form. They're about 5 feet long, a foot wide, really heavy. Now I had something I could work with, familiar shape. So I welded it together and kind of trued it up, and I took measurements off it to begin designing the piece. During the lockdown, I created a number of these little models, and over the years, I've been realizing them in one form or another as sculpture. And I thought for this piece of steel, I'd go with this guy. This was made out of arbitrary wood, arbitrary dimensions, and my piece of metal was it's a very finite dimensions, and it's not enough to make this. Certainly not the same aspect ratio and all that. So the first challenge was to rebuild this, redesign it with those dimensions in mind. So I created a kind of scaled down lumber model to represent that piece of metal. So this represents 3 inches by 10 inches, much like maybe you can even see right there, right? And then I was able to take the dimensions and angles off of this. I brought it into Photoshop. I do the calculations to recreate this on the large scale. So this is pretty nail biting. I only have this one piece of metal, and I measured it all exactly, but if I get it wrong, then I kind of can't get any more metal. And I'm stuck with a half-made sculpture. So I got to trace this line all the way around. And did I mention this was really heavy? The trouble is I'm going to be cutting each side separately. It has to meet in the middle when I'm all done. All right, check it out. Actually kind of meets pretty good. See if I can follow that with the torch. So most of the time is spent just tooling up to make a cut or a weld. I started making some cuts. They came out all right. The goal was to have these meet up, and I'm going off a little bit here. My technique's a little shabby, but it didn't matter. I learned cutting and welding in art school. All right, I'm gonna make this next piece here. And I got this cut to length, and I put some marks on it. I'm gonna cut it now. I work in all kinds of materials. Steel is cool. I like the way you can transform ugly, crude surfaces into something beautiful. All right, I realize this is kind of bad looking, but you don't really see it when it's put together, so I'm going with this. I like working outdoors. I'm lucky to be able to do this. All right, I'm practically freehanding it, but it was worth it. All right, this came out pretty well. Let's see. It still needs some cleaning up to go together well. But very promising. I stomped on this lantern bug a few minutes ago. There's a mosquito. Took care of him. So this would be the toughest cut. It's 18 degrees. But this is very acute. I'm really asking for a lot of precision from a really crude working MO. So hopefully it'll come out all right. This is it. This is the scariest cut of the whole thing. The side was easy enough. The challenge was going to be cutting the broad end. Right? So this is going to be a sick angle here. But I'm going to try it. So I quit that right away. It wasn't working. All right, just to move this thing along, I'm not going to fool around. I'm just going to cut it square, arbitrarily right here, something like that. And I'll deal with that other mess later on. Look how this thing warped from the heat, that big gap. All right, this is pretty ugly. It's going to take some repairs. All right, I got this kind of cut up. It was pretty rough. Now I'll put it together and clean it up. I've been doing some off-camera cleanup, and this is very promising. You won't see all this junk. I just take off the high spots. Not a lot of grinding. All right, that's looking pretty good. All right, finally I had to put the camera down. It was just taking too long. But I welded it together, and here it is. I'm really happy with it. Thanks for watching.